There we go.
And we are recording. Let me pull this up. Hello, everyone. Today is April 29th at the Advanced Branding Collaborative, a place where we like to inspire, inform, and involve our viewers. We obviously speak on a variety of different topics, and we have different guests join us from time to time. Today, I am absolutely honored to have someone that, first and foremost, I haven't even had the opportunity to meet with personally, but I've heard so many amazing things. I've seen amazing things. I've been studying this guy's content, and I've learned a lot just through some of our handwriting analysis that we've been doing over the last few weeks. And so thank you, Lorianne, for the introductions. And I'm really excited to have Bart Baggett with us today. Let me just read his bio directly off my screen here because quite honestly, I wouldn't want to read anything other than what I've got here. It's perfect. Our guest for tonight is arguably the most famous handwriting expert to have ever lived. He is the founder of Handwriting University, a best-selling author, has conducted over 2,000 forensic document cases, and goes to court to testify as an expert witness. In his spare time, he has appeared as an actor in 16 real Hollywood films, has performed stand-up comedy on the Sunset Strip in California, rides a motorcycle to work, and swam with live sharks off the coast of Belize. He's been on over, this is a real number here, so I don't think it's a typo, he's been on over 1,600 radio and TV shows evangelizing the new science of forensic handwriting analysis and personal development for over 2 decades. This includes international networks like ABC, CBS, CNN, as of just last month. He helped crack the case of the Lindbergh baby kidnapping on Mission Declassified on the Travel Channel. Definitely going to be asking about that one, Bart. That's fascinating. It is fair to say that this one man has done more in the past 2 decades to bring credibility and awareness to the field of handwriting analysis than any other individual on an international scale. He is the author of 10 books from topics ranging from success, relationships, happiness. I'm definitely going to be talking about that. I actually had the opportunity to see your TEDx on happiness, so it's definitely a fascinating subject. Marketing, handwriting analysis, as we've been stating. He's published his first book at the age of 23 and as an architect for the very successful curriculum, which has trained thousands of students worldwide at Handwriting University and Prism Life Design programs. I am honored, along with the rest of the ABC, I am honored to welcome the Leonardo da Vinci of handwriting analysis, Bart Baggett.
Wow, that was some introduction, Robert. I think I should stop now. I don't know if I could ever live up to the hype there.
If this was live, Bart, I would be throwing roses up on the stage for you right now. So
no, thank you for that introduction. And all of that is true, even the shark part and the movie part. Let me ask you, Robert, this group of people that you've got, hello everybody, Wendy and Roy, what do you want to learn the most? I've had a very wide path. You know, I run a marketing collective. I have an ad agency. Do you want to talk about movies or stand up or how to make money or how to market things online? Like, tell me where you really want to pick my brain, because I'm here for you. Like, tell me what you're selling and what you're doing, and I'll give you my best shot at giving you some advice.
Absolutely. Well, quite frankly, I'm speaking for, let's say 95% of our viewers, and most of them are small business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are actually looking for motivation. They're looking for things that are actually going to change their lives, mindset, heart set. So obviously that's a big piece, and I know those are things that you speak on. I would also like to say, though, that if we're going to focus on those areas, I would just as much intrigued to find out a little bit more about this journey. You're right. Your journey has been a painting with brushstrokes all over the place, vibrant colors, a lot going on. And I'm really interested to find out a little bit more, Bart, about your journey, just how you started and how you got to where you are now.
Sure, that's a long story. What I don't want to do is just duplicate stuff that you could go watch a TEDx speak. Like
All right.
there's no reason to
Very
have
good.
me here if you can just go watch me, 19
Okay.
minutes of TEDx or the magic question. So and by the way, I'd be glad to do that and take you down
Yeah.
that road if you want. What I love to do is kind of pull back the curtain
Mm,
and just tell you what me and my
awesome.
friends really do. Like my buddies that sell from stage, the ones doing $1 million a year, the guy that runs the news studio, this new called Crave News, which did a piece that'll come out pretty shortly on the Tiger King. Actually, you'll see it on the Crave News. This guy's a multimillionaire, and he's friends with Donald Trump and friends with this, and he ran for Senate. Like those are the conversations I'd rather have
Awesome.
than just what's on the TED Talk.
Ah,
But what I
that's perfect.
Robert is I know you small business owners. Are you resellers? Are you brands? Are you trying to become famous? Like, are you an influencer? Like kind of tell me, like, Wendy, where are you? Roy, like, what specifically? Because I have a really good ability to kind of create a magic touch when it comes to branding and copying and positioning. And like, I see funnels and I see money where people don't.
Mm.
So maybe Robert, I mean, I can sure take you down my journey, but I kind of want to know, where you guys want to go. And briefly, Robert, to answer your question, when I was about 14, my dad taught me and started taking me to handwriting analysis class.
Mm.
And that became a skill. And that was a way to get attention, to have girls talk to me. And I didn't have any conception that it would be a career, much less how to make money at it. The guy that taught me name was Dr. Ray Walker, and he ran a hypnotherapy clinic. And so he's hypnosis, handwriting. So since I was 14, 15 years old, I've been surrounded by this kind of alternative psychology. My dad sent me to Brian Tracy seminars and sales and all this stuff as a teenager. So as I got in through college, I really had a not just a gift. I was very good at taking this skill, understanding people, translating it into rapport, into connections, into relationships, into sales. And then that took me saying, hey, how can I monetize this? And so when I was in my early 20s, I ended up getting on some radio and TV shows. And I was like, oh, I think I can monetize this with a book. And so that's why I wrote the book at 22, 23 years old, because like, oh, I want to be like Tony Robbins. So that kind of started the journey. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Like even before the internet, trying to self-publish a book, trying to get on radio shows, answering phones, like there's a bunch of work that they never tell you about in the
Right.
beginning
That's
of
true.
a,
That's
of a
true.
career. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't worth it, but there was a lot of slim times. And maybe you're having slim times now with the COVID and the different stuff, because things stopped selling. I mean, we were down $15,000 last month. I mean, negative, meaning that we make this much, we just lost it. And where's that come from? I mean, you just lost. And so whether you're doing 100,000 a month or just 10,000, I feel your pain.
Mm. No. Wow. Absolutely. Well, I mean, again, I'll let each person kind of chime in. I can tell you that as an entrepreneur, also as a kind of a newer author, I'm working on my third book right now. And the fact of the matter is, I love, my passion is traveling, speaking from stage on a variety of subjects, but really just that everything that you touched base on there, Bart. So I'm excited to address some of those things, how you were able to overcome some of those obstacles, whether it was just entirely through mindset or, was it connections? Was it, just all those things. So,
Does everybody here have a book? Is everybody an author or a brand of your own at some level?
Lorianne, yeah.
Lori's got
Yeah.
one. Doc's
I'm not
got
sure.
one.
I'm not sure. We've got a few people that aren't.
Okay, so Robert, you're the only one, because I don't want to jump too down the rabbit hole on
Yeah.
books and speaking from stage if that's not what everybody's doing. I will say this, Robert. I went to 18 countries in the last 2 years, and in almost every country there was a stage waiting for me, including in Beijing and Singapore. And Lori and Doc are part of that community where if I would come to the city, Lorianne would roll out the red carpet and have a stage for me, whether it's 20 people or 100. And it took 20 years to build those relationships and those friendships to do that. So I didn't get paid a lot to go to Singapore, but my trip was paid for. And I got to spend 3 days in
Gotcha.
Singapore. I got to go to China and Taiwan and speak and have a translator. It was fascinating.
Mm.
All because there was a foundation of fans first, especially in Taiwan, where they translated one of my books almost 15 years ago, and then friendships. And so I created the ability to not only take these fans and become friends, like in like a monthly class, a weekly class. Like we've got a weekly class we're doing right now, which is like 150 people coming for free because of this COVID thing. They're showing up where a year ago they wouldn't show up, even if for free. So you're building a community. So if you like to travel and like to speak, don't just sit there and wait for someone to pay you. Build a community,
Yeah.
build friends, and that's really how you can open up those stages for you. But don't think you're going to get rich traveling the world.
Right.
But if traveling is something you enjoy, which I do, then it's just a great way to get someone else to pay for you to go see the world.
That's right. And is there any other particular points? Lorianne, do you have a couple questions? I know that you know Bart very well, and I'm sure there's something. There's got to be something that you would like to ask Bart that you have never had the opportunity to ask him in the past.
I don't. I think that this is a better forum for somebody else to ask. I know that
Okay.
Wendy has a question and Jenny does, and anyone else that put it in the chat, let me know. And let's open it up to you guys, because I've been around Bart for a long time. Doc too. I think that this is a really good forum for other people who haven't met Bart before. So
Okay.
I know, Roy, you're unmuted. Did you want to start?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about branding. He was talking about branding. What can you tell us about that, Bart?
Well, there's two important distinctions, and Lori said this was a branding sort of mastermind. So I assume you're all marketers or advertising. I've always perceived myself as a direct response expert, and I think most small business people should, really study direct response. And just for the definition is, Coca-Cola can run big commercials and Ford and they can make a brand. You and me and Robert, we're not going to ever buy commercials just to brand us as Robert or Bart. Like it's not reality. But if I spend $500 on a billboard, I want someone to pick up the phone and call me. So that's direct response. So almost everything I've done has been direct response and trackable. So I run a Facebook ad. I do a Howard Stern show. Like I can tell you, I made $32,000 when I was on the Howard Stern show in 1999. Why? Because they picked up the phone, they called, there's the sales. I can track that, but is it really branding? What's branding is what's on my websites. Oh, he's on Larry King. He's famous. Those media stuff helped establish a brand that Bart is somebody special, but it really doesn't make me any money. What it does, it creates a little bit of credibility, and I can charge more for my services because I'm branded as the expert. So in the forensic business, I charge $650 an hour, which is about for $300 more than anybody else in the business. And they'll ask my assistant, well, why does he charge so much? And he says, well, he charges about as much as the good attorneys in LA. And she just goes, well, because he's the best in the world. And they go, oh. So price is part of my brand. We have the most expensive handwriting analysis course in the world. It's like $3,500 in India. And part of the brand being the Cadillac, the Mercedes is, yes, it's expensive because it's really, really worth it. Everybody in India can get a course for $400. You can probably get a certificate in India for $400. I want to be the most expensive because it's part of the brand, Roy. Does that make sense? Now you can't always make that choice, but if you have the opportunity to make that choice, go expensive because you only need a few clients to be wealthy, opposed to hundreds of clients if you're trying to compete in what they call the red ocean. Do you know what the red and blue ocean mean?
Yeah. So when you go speak, say Larry King, Howard Stern, whatever, I know that's exposure for you. Do they pay your expenses to go there, or do you pay your expenses and then you're recouped by what you sell when you're there?
Great question. So that business model has changed a lot. Remember, I started doing radio in 1991. So we're talking about 28 years of it being in front of the media. So it's changed. So before the internet, there were at least 12 to 15 of us professional guests, and we would just go studio to studio, city to city. Dr. Bob used to sell making love videos on VHS, and this other girl would sell weight loss, and this other one would there was the speed reader, Howard Berg, world's fastest speed reader. We were all buddies, right? And we all exchanged numbers, and here's this producer, and they love to have great guests because basically, Roy, they're having me on the air because I'm entertaining, just like a country music star or a rock star, right? Maybe a comedian. In exchange for the opportunity for me to be on radio, I get to pitch something. Now, that is not true on late night television. I wouldn't be able to give my 800 number on Late Night with Conan O'Brien or Larry King Live. That's purely exposure. And as far as I know, and I'm answering your question directly, I don't even think TV and movie stars get paid on the late night talk shows. Now, they may be part of the union, and so they may have to pay them $120 just because they're all union members. Like, I'm a STAG member, but I've never, ever received a dime flown to New York to do either Montel Williams or one of those shows, and they did pay my hotel and airfare for the TV shows. But almost consistently across the board, it's a quid pro quo. I'm going to give you some entertainment, and you're going to let me pitch some stuff. Get them up on a website, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's the exchange. And so it's a great way to it's fun, first of all. So Robert, if you like speaking, Roy, if you like speaking, it's fun for you because you'll get excited about it if you're an extrovert. On the downside, if everything doesn't go perfect, they don't ever call you. There's no direct response since the internet came along. So really what happened was I was making $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a show back in 1993, 94, right? And then 96, 97, 98. I know the internet came in 96. We would go on the Star 10, was it Star 100, Star 94 in Atlanta and consistently make 10, 12 grand, off these morning shows because they would call and they would order this $100 product or $100 product. Right. When the internet came along and got so pervasive, they stopped giving out my phone number and just gave the website. And what happened was a time delay of people being really interested, and then they forget all about it. And then they go shopping, and then they get distracted, and they go on YouTube. So the whole business model disappeared. So I don't do as much radio and TV now as I did 20 years ago because it's not profitable. What that means is if in your head you're like, I want to be like Bart, yeah, that was a different time then. I could literally make $100 grand just on radio interviews because that was my advertising. Now what I do, I advertise. Yeah. You have Google and Facebook, which you didn't have back then. Now I can just put $1 in and get $10 out. So if you want to do it, Roy, do it for the exposure and positioning of being the best and put on your website so that you're amazing and they go, oh, he must be famous. But don't do it to make money because there's a lot easier ways to put $1 in, $1 out if you get good at direct response with ClickFunnels and Facebook and AdWords. That's where all of our leads come from consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bart, obviously your credentials speak for themselves. However, when we do talk about personal branding, a lot of times that first step is perceived credibility, right? It's getting yourself out there. It's telling people your story, trying to connect with your target audience. And obviously you've done that well. When you talked about red ocean, going from a red ocean to a blue ocean, I mean, at least in my world, you're in a niche. I mean, that's how many people do I come across that say that they're forensic analysts? I mean, almost no one. So the fact that you actually are doing what you're doing and you are the best in the world, that's pretty amazing. So kudos to you for nailing that.
Well, first of all, my competitors would not agree with that.
Yeah.
They probably think they're the best in the world.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
But nobody knows their name. And no one's going to come up and say, well, your website says you're the #1 expert in the USA. Like, who says that? Google. Like you type #1 handwriting expert USA. It's me and Wendy, who's one of my students, because we put it in the search terms. Like there's no contest. There's no trophy that goes out. So it's a small niche. And within that niche, you have competitors and you have people in different countries. I partnered with a lot of the top handwriting experts in India because they already have a fan base. Does that make sense? Like partner with them, and now we have twice as many fans. But yeah, so don't believe the hype. Like I don't believe my own hype. It's branding, it's positioning. I'm really good at the skill, and the reason I'm really good is not only I've been doing it since I was 14, but doing radio and TV. There's this live spark of interactivity. And that gave me a lot of confidence to say, I could do stand-up comedy, or I could do movies. It gave me the confidence to have this interaction and this sort of comedic timing. There's a lot of people that are probably really good at hypnosis and analyzing handwriting and personal development, but nobody's Tony Robbins. That's a different level. And also, he's been doing it 35 years. But you know what? You can be your own version of Tony Robbins, and your fans will adore you. So don't try and be me and don't try and be Tony Robbins. Be kind of a version of yourself. And as long as you get enough practice, you will probably be good and charming and entertaining to get your point across.
Right.
Good question, Roy.
I actually do have a couple of questions. Well, I guess two people have the same question here. So John and Leslie, did you want, John, you put the question up and Leslie said that she's in agreement with you. So this was an interesting one for you, Bart.
Yeah,
go ahead, John.
We're both faith-based, if you will. and trying to start movements and just getting going. I think it's safe to say, Leslie. In any event, mine has to do around a brand. A faith-based question that became a big brand was, what would Jesus do? It's a question that I always thought really didn't quite convey what Jesus would have wanted to be asked. So I came up with a question: what is Jesus doing? With a question mark, with the idea that Jesus is alive. We don't have to think hypothetically what he would do, but we can ask him. So it's really designed to help people to connect with Jesus in such a way that they would have this living, active, vibrant kind of a thing that would really make a big difference in their business, conceivably, any area of their life. So is that something you can build a brand around?
So let me see clarity. You're selling religion, John? You're selling, what's the return of investment here? You're convincing people and you're giving them a support system? Are you a minister? Is this a business question, or are you a preacher? Like, let me get the business model first.
Yeah, no, I'm a business guy. So I'm not a preacher, but I do have a background. And so I believe that Jesus is alive and that he's accessible. And really, he is the one that can help anybody from a businessman to
yeah. So is this piece of software? Are they going to is it going to be like they're going to go to a website and type in questions, and the algorithm, the AI is going to come back and say, hey, here's Jesus's script. Here's a scripture that can help you with your problem. Like, what's the actual thing that people are interacting with?
Well, I think that one of the things that I would be doing would be mass group coaching, where I could get people into maybe a membership site with some of the materials that would go with it, but then the group coaching to actually help them to learn, just like you're teaching people how to, or you're showing how to read handwriting. This would be about how to actually connect with Jesus, to hear what he's saying, to see what he's doing, and apply that to their lives.
So interesting. I subscribe to a lot of newsletters that I may never purchase, and one of them is for preachers. And so I get an email every couple of weeks for I think they're selling. I'm not a paid member, of course, because I don't have a church. The Church of Bartology. It's great. I can't wait for that to get started. But he sells for $7 or $10 a month. He sells starter for preachers, so that they get up on Sunday morning sermon. They already have the little sales pitch, and they have scripture. It's a brilliant idea. He sells it to preachers, which is great, because if you got to come up with a sermon every week, you're like, oh, what scripture is that? How do I ask for money? Anyway, I'm just saying that he found ways to monetize his passion, which was helping spread his version of reality, which is Christianity, to other people. So what I'm still trying to figure out, you started with this idea, but you're trying to ask me, where is the money? Where is the business model? Or is it just a cute bumper sticker? Is that kind of your question?
Well, I think where is the business model is really the question.
Got it. So the answer is, it's going to be serving people that are of the same belief system, which means Christians, and you're going to create something that they can't get from church.
Okay.
If you're selling the same thing they get from church, there's no reason to give you $7 or $17 a month. Now, do I know if that brand's catchy enough? I really don't. I mean, there's no way to test it. There's no way to know till you test it. I don't think just a slogan is a brand, just the bottom line. So WW, what would Jesus do? People have heard that, and it's clever. And so you're twisting on that. But we still don't know in the first 10 seconds, what is it, John? What are you selling? What is it for me? How can it help me? So very quickly, any brand should say, I know what it is. I know what they're selling. Is it for me? Very quickly, you should be able to figure that out. So we have Handwriting University. If you don't believe in handwriting, it ain't for you. University. It's not a real university. It's a school. People want to come and hang out on campus and hang out with our cheerleaders. I'm like, dude, it's not a college. It's an idea. Yeah. Handwriting University. Some think we teach cursive to kids. That's okay. So it's all on brand. So right off the bat, John, the challenge I see is, I've been chatting with you for 7 minutes and we still don't know what this is. I need to know. It's a mastermind for Christianities. It's, who's it for? Is it for men? Is it for women? Is it for preachers? Is it for everybody? if you go down the everybody trail, it's a very dangerous rabbit hole because you can't afford to serve everybody. I would argue, especially in America, 77% of Americans consider themselves Christians. Now that's pretty much everybody. So you say, okay, well, let's to the 23%. Great. So I'm saying, I still think your bucket's way too wide to buy ads. I mean, there's Christian radio stations. I'm in Amarillo, Texas today. There ain't nothing on but country music and Christian radio here. So there's 5 radio stations in Amarillo that are Christian radio stations. You got to drill down, John. I want to know who is really going to benefit. Is it women? Is it men? Is it teenagers? Is it business owners? Christian, blah. Like, that's what I want. Like, if you could serve, here's the way you guys answer this question, and I'll go on the next question. If you could put a seminar together, John, and 100 of your best clients would be there, and let's say they pay you $995, $1,000. So sit up there, outline what you'd like to share with them that could change their life. I know you have an idea of like these scriptures and stuff, and then outline the seminar in your head. I even made our marketing mastermind people actually write out the outline. They didn't have to, have the PowerPoints, but they wrote out, do I have 15 hours of content? And if you do, then that seminar is your thing that you're selling. And that thing can come pieced out in a monthly membership program. You could do a weekly Zoom seminar, or you could do a 2 to 3 day seminar like Tony Robbins does. You could package that in a book. You can put it on CDs. There's a lot of ways once you figure out what that is. So John, I think the answer to your question is you really want to be in the information business. You want to sell information to Christians. Am I correct, John?
Yeah, and actually help coach them into using the information.
Same thing. So 2 things. You're doing coaching, which is a live version of information selling. So when you think info product is the starting point for personal high-end coaching. Yeah. So for example, you can buy a book for $10. You can get a little slice of Bart Baggett, right? The Magic Question, great book. It's on Audible. If you pay me $68,000, I'll fly into your city and help you get started as a forensic handwriting consultant, right? Gotcha. You get to meet with me every couple of weeks. You get my staff. You have my personal phone number. $68,000, $10. It's all information. What are they selling? They're buying information that I have in my head that they can't get elsewhere, which is why it's $68,000. If they can get it elsewhere, it's 10. Does that help a little bit, John?
Great things to think about. Thanks, Bart.
And Leslie, you had your hand up there for a moment. Did you have something?
Yeah, I think I was just going to concur with what John was saying. I'm the other faith-based person here, and really my goal is not just to give information or help Christians that are Christians, but our mission is to expand the kingdom. So my question is more key, and I think this ties into what you were asking John, and right away I was thinking about kingdom leadership. And is that something that I would be more branding or marketing? Because when you say choose women, men, Christians, yes, Christians that already believe, they know their grace and their salvation comes from Jesus. And you're right, over 77% of Americans say they're Christian, but they're not walking that walk. And we want to encourage that walk. But I also want to get the secular person that needs to, that hopefully by learning the gospel, they get the good news and they fall in love with Jesus and they get saved.
So where's your question specifically?
So is that kingdom leadership? That's what I was thinking.
So I like the word kingdom leadership. I think it's catchy. But I want to know who is it? This is a business. So you got 2 things. You got a mission, a personal mission, and then you got a business. Churches are businesses. They got overhead, they got expenses, they collect the money every week. Do you want to be in the church business, Leslie?
No, I don't want to be in the church business.
But that's what churches do. They convert people and they feed.
Well, I don't
think
they
support
convert people because people that go to church are already there in some way or another. And those people that are at church, they're not really walking the life, a lot of them. So I don't know what that looks like then outside of church, where my influence can be in order to get them to start that walk, and then have someone ask me questions about Christ because they are curious, or they don't know, or they don't have any type of spirituality, and they're searching.
So I hear two things. I hear that you really, really want to share this special thing that you discovered. You're like, hey, I got this special thing I discovered. I really want to share it with the world because it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it a healing ointment, right? This is a special patented healing ointment. I discovered it. Now I really want to share it with the world. And I know it's going to help you too, right? Call it Jesus, Christianity, Muslim, Scientology, whatever you call it, okay? You've got this passion to share it. The question is, Leslie, is it a business? And do you want to continue to share it because it's your passion, or do you want to make it a business? Because when you start making makeup your business, you get into the Mary Kay, and now what you loved before, which was makeup, it feels like a multi-level marketing thing because I've got to go, I got to have these house parties and Tupperware, and all of a sudden what you loved, makeup, isn't the same because it's a business now. Mm-hmm. My question is, do you really want to make converting people a business? And then the second part is, there's a lot of Christians that would love to have your advice and interact with you. You seem to be focused on the ones that haven't discovered the ointment yet. And that's the hardest market to convert. That's why if you are part of the Mormon faith, you spend a year going to Libya and Africa to convert people. It's part of their system. That's the only way they grow. Scientology, same thing. They don't grow unless they have a special mechanism in place to go convert people. So my question is, do you want to be in the sales business, selling Christianity? And if so, we got to find a business model that makes you money, or it's just a hobby.
Thanks, Bart.
But don't delude yourself. You want to convert people. You are on, which is awesome. But it might be a hobby. It might not be a business. What could be a business is supporting people that already believe it in the form of a mastermind, mentorship, Christian sort of support group. I mean, there's the people will give $7 a month for a lot of things. Maybe not $800. You're not going to get $68,000 a person to come, learn about Christianity because they can get that at church.
Right.
So you got to figure out what the church is not giving them because they're getting it for free. I say free, 10%. They're going to donate it, but you got this miracle thing and you want to sell it to people. So I started to dumb it down so product wise, but there's a lot of people here that don't have the same belief systems as you. So I'm trying to get it where you can all understand it. You're selling a belief system is what you're selling. Whether you believe it to be true or not, you're selling this box of miracle cures. Yeah, but trying to sell it to people that don't believe it, that's pretty hard. Like I don't try and sell handwriting to people that don't believe in handwriting. It's like trying to sell chiropractic to people that only believe in Western medicine. Like, chiropractic can be very helpful, but some people are never going to go to chiropractor. Right. I can't make money off the people who don't believe in my stuff. I need to go to where they believe in it. And that's easy. Then find something that serves them. So I think you're setting yourself up for some disappointment if you keep focusing on people that don't know about the ointment yet. And the ointment has no price unless you're running a church. Leslie, go start a church. Churches are really profitable. Look at that guy in Houston, the big old globe behind him. Oh man, that's a lot of money coming in every day.
I think I don't want to speak for either one of them, Bart, but because I actually have spent some time with them, I think the real model. I mean, you nailed it, Bart, and that is the fact that when I speak to Leslie about her avatar, and such, it is predominantly those people that are they've already discovered the ointment, as you stated. They're already in church, but there's something still missing, right? They're going through the fundamentals of things just because it's more traditional based. Leslie, we talked about that word church code. Are they just showing up and going through the motions, or are they really transforming their lives and in turn then transforming the lives of others? So I think you nailed it, Bart. It's find out and narrow that down, figure out what your target audience is. And it is much easier, as you stated, those that have actually already, been exposed to the ointment, you're just showing them some better ointment.
Yeah, I think what Shirley wants to do is be a counselor using the methodology of Christianity. She wants to counsel people and make their life better. I mean, most people that are in the coaching or author business, we found something. Mine was handwriting or NLP, and that's just the magic ointment. And now we think that if you learn this, your life will be better. And you can read it in a book, but if you work with me, let's say I'm Leslie, every week we're going to get a call and we're going to work through these divorce problems and anger problems and weight loss through the word. I think that's viable for a monthly program of some sort, because you're giving some special interpretation. Again, it feels like church, but if you target your avatar properly, just women that are just divorced, or women that just men. Like, I still think you have to narrow that down very specifically. African American people, a Canadian. I mean, there's however you slice it, you just got to narrow it down, because you can't afford branding. Meaning you can't afford branding. You can't afford Super Bowl commercials. You can't advertise to everybody unless somebody's on here that's like Bill Gates that I don't know about. We need to put $1 in. We need to get $1 out a couple of days later. And you can't do that with branding. So Leslie, what I'm saying is we need to be very specific about who's going to raise their money and buy. Once you have that, and I think it was Robert or John, I said, once you have this idea of this 100 people in your weekend seminar, you'll know who they are. And so let me give you a great example. KNYG 105.3 is a true story. So I ended up actually hosting a FM radio show on Friday nights there in CBS. So they paid me to do radio. And I think we were on the air about a year. But before that, it was a country station. It was 105.3. And they had literally Polaroid pictures of all these country folk sitting. And it was a studio, kind of like this microphone. But I'd never seen a bunch of Polaroid pictures. I said, who are those people? He said, those are our fans. We took those. That's Billy Bob. That's Mary Sue. And it was literally these country names. It was really funny. Hat. That guy drives a truck for a living. He says, when I read the news and when I talk to Michael, I look at these people because these are our people. They were hardworking folk. They speak with Texas accent. One's married, one's divorced, one's got a kid, one just got divorced. I mean, they knew their stories. So when they're reading the news and they're talking, they know who they're talking to. So what I'm asking you is, if you got a seminar with I don't usually have a Texas accent. I'm in Texas, Lisa. When you got a seminar, when you have a seminar with your 100 people, who's in the room, Leslie? Who are those people? Who do you want to serve? If we can answer that question, we can go buy those impressions on Facebook or AdWords, and we can create a relationship with them. But if you don't know what you're going to talk about in that 100-person seminar, or you don't know who's in the chair, it's really difficult to find them.
Thank you, Bart. I have another question. Jenny, you said that you have a question for Bart. Jenny, are you there? You are there. She's in space right now.
Yeah. Hi, Bart. How are you going? I just had the question, if you had to sort of start all over again, how would you start?
I would definitely make it 100% online. And this would be the same answer, by the way, before this COVID-19 thing. We've never had a real university. Back in the 90s, it was VHS tapes and information. So I think the best business is information business, because you can price yourself really high and the cost of delivery is low. You can test all this without ever producing it. So my friend of mine named Chris is an inventor, and he has to get patents and then you manufacture it. And sometimes you get a whole shipload of stuff from China and no one buys it. Yeah, that's a bummer, right? You get a shipload of stuff. With information products, you can literally test it with just your time and a few dollars. So I would do what I did just last year. I restarted the forensic program. It's an information program. I priced it really high. I tested it. People said yes. Here's $70,000. I said, great. Four people gave me $70,000 in 4 months. And I went, oh, we have a winner. Now, I've done this before, so I knew the content was good. I knew that I could deliver the service, but I wasn't really sure if I could get the money that I expected. So they each gave me $25,000, $100,000 in a couple months, and I went, oh, this is a winner. I'm going to keep doing this, right? Now, I can do the same thing. I did the same thing with this thing called Prism Life Design. Lorianne, I think you were in Prism Life Design, right? Okay, this is a great program. So this is a great story so you understand, Jennifer, where I'm getting. Lorianne, you were in the second class. We had like 12, 13 people, right?
Yeah,
Took you all the way through. Okay, so she went through the certification program, which I think should be about $10,000 to $12,000. That's where in my mind it should be priced. Lori, I think you paid $2,000, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, here's what happened. I love that program. It's sort of like a Tony Robbins coaching. Like it is awesome, and people had ridiculously magical transformations from it, right? But it wasn't priced at $10,000. It was only $2,000, and it was only for my house list. So I tested it for free. My fans, right? I got a house list, or I could go buy traffic. And we ran a smaller $500 version of that to upsell them into the $10,000 program, right? We spent I guess 10 or 20 or $25,000 testing variations of ads, and we could not figure out sort of how to make that work. So we scrapped the program, but it didn't really take a lot of time. So the one that Lori went through, we recorded videos, and we did live Zoom calls, right? So the amount of time, sure, I probably spent 8 or 10,000 recording videos, but I could sell it to my list and get that money back. So I definitely broke even, but I couldn't figure out how to scale it up to $1 million business. And so I walked away from it. But here's the thing. You can test without building the product. So for example, the forensic school, now we have a lot of recordings. We've done this before. You're like, Brown University, Stanford, they don't spend that much money, right? They don't get a mentor. You don't go to class with them. But it's 6 semesters. So we have 4 people in school right now. 4 of them paid $25,000 deposit, right? One of them prepaid the whole thing at a discount. So instead of $68,000, she wired us $58,000. So I get $112,000, right? I don't have to have the school built yet. It's 6 semesters. I only have 3 built, and I got their money. So I'm going to spend, as I'm using their money to build the program, their money to hire editors in the Philippines, right? So test it. If they say yes, build it as you go. If you advertise and nobody wants it, don't go build it. So the answer, Jennifer, is sell something, sell information, find a very specific niche, and then test it with your money and see if people are interested. If they're not interested, you'll know really quick. You can run ads, and you can run $5 a day, different ad sets, and within a few days, you know if people care or interested in what you have.
Thank you.
What's your passion, Jennifer? What's your passion? What do you love?
Yeah, I'm a hypnotherapist and NLP coach.
Yep.
And
so it's easy for you. You're going to sell your high ticket one-on-one. So, if you want Jennifer, it's $500 an hour, whatever. But we have a lot of hypnotists in our marketing mastermind, and hypnotists in NLP. In fact, one in Israel is recently, and they struggle with an hourly model. If you have a skill set, all your friends, they charge hourly. And the bad thing about hypnosis, and by the way, I'm trained as a hypnotist, and I used to do stage, stop smoking and lose weight. So I know this industry pretty well. If you're really good, and Jennifer, I assume you are, you're smart, you know NLP, you know hypnosis, once after 2 or 3 sessions, you're going to cure them because you're that good. That's a terrible business model. You need to dispense them medicine for the rest of their lives. Like my friend David, who's a psychiatrist at Duke University, his job is to dispense medicine and manage their pain for the rest of their life. I said, Dave, by the way, he's a close friend of mine. We went to high school together. I said, you never cure anybody. You're just a pill pusher. He goes, yeah, but it makes a living. My kids are well fed. He's in pain management. He's not in pain curing. You need to find a way to manage their personal growth and help them evolve. So you got a year-long program. If you continue to heal people the first time you meet them, Jennifer, they're not a recurring customer. I mean, I mean, think about it. How many people want to pay me to analyze their handwriting? Not many. They all want me to analyze their handwriting because I'm great at it. But once I've done that, Jennifer, what are you going to pay me next week? I already did it. I already provided the service. So there's really no money in this thing called handwriting. There is money in wrapping it in HR, wrapping it in education, teaching people transformation, putting it in another context. People like you get certified in handwriting because you're going to be a better therapist. Like if you knew what I knew, you would be better, more effective, and it's cool. It makes your life easier. If you're going to do a year coaching program, you better learn this because you're going to have a contract with somebody that you hate because there's a lot of lunatics out there, and handwriting can prevent you from getting in relationships with these people. These people have 3.5 years with me. Yeah, they paid $68,000, but do you want to spend 3 years with a jerk? So I'm saying in itself, the skill is no one's going to pay for it. But in a package of somehow how it translates to being useful, they'll pay to learn it. So Jennifer, you've got to get out of just the hypnotherapist transactional mode, and you got to create sort of a package of transformation, kind of a journey. And so
Yes.
within that journey, you say, look, that's what I did the life design program. I mean, talk to Lorianne about it. It's like, here's the tools. Here's what I did. So Jennifer, you can take what I did. And by the way, Prism would work. If I just, this other thing makes so much money and it's so much easier and it's priced so much higher. It just made more sense to spend on that. I like the Prism program because I like personal development, but it wasn't as profitable because it's a very competitive space. It's about red ocean, blue ocean. There's no one in the forensic space. There's literally no school. There's no competitors. Or I can be a wannabe Tony Robbins. It's a very competitive space.
Yeah.
And by the way, I still put my hat in it because I love it. I love the magic question. I like NLP. Like I want to help people, but I also want to get rich. So if you're in this red ocean, be very specific what you do, how you heal people. Don't heal everybody. Pick one particular problem, get great at it, solving, write a little book, charge really premium for your sessions because you're the best in the world at bedwetting or agoraphobia or whatever it is that you do. And then if you're really good at that, they'll end up hiring you for other stuff. But I would say the best advice for those of you that are selling information or expertise is go back to the metaphor of 100 people in a seminar room. Jennifer, if you had 100 people in a seminar room, where's your home? Are you in the UK?
Australia.
You're in Australia, so you're in Sydney. So if you have 100 people in Sydney, could you teach for 2 and 3 days? Do you have enough content in your head?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Write it out on index cards. Like, do I have 8 hours? That's your program. The easiest way to write a book is to go that weekend. I did a course with my mom in the audience when I was 22. I had no idea what I was going to say until I got up on stage. I recorded every word. And some of it was really bad and some of it was really good because sometimes I get rolling, I say something intelligent. So I hope you're recording this. So go do the seminar with 5 of your friends, right? Customers, give them free tickets, record the whole thing. And then you'll find out, hey, about half of this was really good. You get transcribed, you got at least 2 or 3 books right there. When I say books, I'm talking about 70, 80 page books. Don't do what I did. Don't write a 300-page book. That's ridiculous. I wish someone would have hit me then, punched me in the mouth. That's where I start. My best-selling book is literally 100 pages called The Magic Question. It's one idea, Jennifer, that I learned when I was taking NLP, my certification for NLP. It's basically reframing with a question of the quality. Basically, it's quality questions. Quality questions. Anyway, blah blah blah. You know the methodology. The point is, it's one idea, and it became one book, and that one book became a bestseller, and it's awesome. But if I said I'm going to teach you NLP, everyone's teaching NLP. It's not even copyrighted anymore. So you got to find something that's unique. So Marissa Peer, do you know who that is?
Yes.
So Marissa Peer, we have the same marketing agency. We're friends. John is a friend of mine, her husband. They did such a good job of coming from being a hypnotherapist to the UK stars and the tennis clubs to now being a trainer. So she doesn't do much one-on-one anymore because she said, what I have is I'm going to teach you how to be a RTT therapist. Now, for those of you not in hypnotherapy, what it is, it's hypnosis and NLP. It's the same stuff. And she claims that she created this. I'm like, that looks really familiar. I think I learned that 20. By the way, I love her. I love John. I'm not criticizing. I'm saying they did something smart. They packaged it up. They gave it a little brand. And they said, look, here's my ointment. And if you buy my box of ointment, not only will you heal yourself, but I can help you build a career as an RTT therapist, which the rest of us, it's a hypnotherapist.
Oh, no.
Don't tell anybody it's a hypnotherapist, okay? Okay? Here's what she did. She's got a brand, RTT. It's different than NLP. It's different than hypnosis. Now, you and I know it's not that. By the way, I haven't been through a program, so it may be different. It may be, she may have a spin that's amazing. By the way, one of my best friends went through it and loves it. So I'm actually doing nothing critical here. I'm saying that she branded something that a lot of us that have been around a while know. But because she said, I will help you make money with this, now it's a $10,000 product. So Jennifer, go do your weekend, transcribe it. Eventually you'll get people to pay you $10,000, but right now do it for free. Call it $1,000 ticket, print them up on a piece of paper, give them out to your friends, your customers. Say, hey, here's 2 tickets. I want you to bring a friend, record it. And then in that audience, you'll see the ones that really, really love you. And then go, 30, So you're in Australia, right? So 42-year-old divorced women, they're the ones on the edge of their seat. And you go, that's who I'm targeting. On the other hand, you may go, why is there a bunch of 65-year-old men here? This is odd. They're on the edge of their seat, like the totally different demographic. What I learned doing handwriting seminars back when I was 25, 26 years old, there was always about 60% of the room that were 40-year-old white women that were divorced. 60 to 70%. That was the avatar. You know why?
Yes.
Because they lose a relationship and they went, I'm never going to have that happen again. And they start doing this personal development journey and they stumble across handwriting, and handwriting skews female. Like, oh man, that's really interesting. So that's who's at the seminar. So that's who I talk to. So when I write sales letters or when I write things, I'm inviting them. I understand your pain. Men are jerks. That first divorce was hell. You need to learn this to who was there. And then I can serve them better because I understand them. So you have all the knowledge in the world, Jennifer. You should be easy. You just need to learn the information marketing business, and then and go put your big girl panties on, be a star. Stop serving people one-on-one, serve people 1 on 1,000. You just got to believe in yourself. I'm not any more special than you. I just had a few people tell me I'm really good and funny and charming, and I believe them. And because I believed them, I kept asking to be on radio shows, and they kept putting me on because they believed me, all because somebody said, yeah, I think you can do this. So I gave you permission to be a star. Because one-on-one, it's really hard to make money one-on-one.
I know.
It's hard to scale up.
Yes.
And if you're good at your job, you cure them too quickly. So stop being so darn good, Jennifer. Leave a scalpel in next time. So you got to go back and they got to pay twice.
Struggling with, because I always, I always want to help people. I want to have that transformation, and but it makes total sense what you're saying. Yeah.
Is everybody here? Is everybody here sell information? Are you all coaches or experts at some level? Ellen, Sumit, I haven't heard a word from you guys. Are you experts? You sell something?
We do actually have, Bart. I have a question both from Wendy and Ellen. Sumit hasn't submitted one yet. But if we can, I know we're running out of time, and it's wonderful. You've been so fantastic, Barb. I don't want to overtake your time either.
No, I'll say later. I don't mind.
With your question.
But yes, I would info product, right? For most people here.
Yeah.
So everybody is an expert, so they can see themselves with the name on the book. They can see themselves on stage, right? All of you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I know the brain is it. Good. So what was the question, Lori? What was the one?
So Wendy was the next one to go ahead. Go ahead, Wendy.
So hopefully you won't think this is a ridiculous question, but for those people that are just getting started out, or for people that are totally switching gears, what do you recommend for them to get? How do you recommend they get credibility?
So credibility is
perceived credibility, or
it's
whatever.
Perceived. I think the biggest hurdle is not credibility. It's you believing that you're credible. I think that's the biggest hurdle. And here's how you know if you don't believe you're good is if you're undercharging, you got some self-esteem things to work through. If you're afraid to ask for money or you're afraid to charge high, then you're insecure of how much value you're bringing. You don't have to have been on Larry King to get $600 an hour. Trust me, you don't have to have been in movies. You just have to be convincing. So there's a guy at the local furniture store that can sell. That guy's going to be the winner, and no one needs to see that guy on TV. So I think the question, I think there's a presupposition, Wendy, that says I have to have a lot of credibility before I can be successful. I'm suggesting that that presupposition is unfounded. You need to be good. You need to be effective, meaning that if you're going to take $100, you better deliver $105 in value. But you don't have to have a certificate or something. No one has ever asked me to see my degree from Pepperdine University. $200,000 this piece of paper cost me. No one has ever asked to see it. Okay? I was 19 doing hypnosis seminars. This is a hilariously true story, by the way. We kept hiring these hypnotists. We owned the business. My family owned this hypnosis business. And I was 18 or 19. I was in college. I think it was my freshman year. And we would hire a local hypnotherapist like Jennifer and just split the revenue with them. So look, we're going to run the ads. So it's the same business model, right? We're selling information. We were using things called newspapers. Does everyone understand what those were? Ellen, you're too young. You don't even know. We literally had full page newspaper ads, and people would show up. And there's the fat people for the weight loss seminar, and then the people that were smokers. It was two different swaths. So I was, 6 months, I'm like taking money in $8,000 or $10,000, and I'm paying out half of it to somebody that just showed up and talked for a couple hours. And most of the time, the other people were asleep. So basically, they would just read their script, right? And I thought, this is really easy. I don't know why we're paying this guy $5,000 or $10,000. I'm taking all the risk. So anyway, one time, this is a very true story and hilarious. So there was this really, really hilarious black guy that had these big yellow suits, and he was fantastic. And he canceled last minute, and his picture was in the paper. And my dad said, well, you do it. I can't come to California. You do it. I said, A, I'm not black. They're going to be pissed off. B, I've only had a weekend training of hypnosis. He says, Bart, it's just easy. Go up there, tell them to shut their eyes and read the script. So I'm 18 or 19 years old with a room full of fat people and a room full of smokers. And I tell them to close their eyes and I read the script. Who gave me credibility, Wendy? No certificate, no school. I'm friggin' 19 or 18 years old. But you know what? I'm a good salesman. And if I can convince those people that they can stop smoking, they will stop smoking. Hypnosis, and this is good for you, Leslie, because you're talking about belief systems. If you understand hypnosis, all it is getting people to shift their belief systems. Mm-hmm. And if you can believe a 19-year-old can help this guy that's been smoking since World War II, that's what he told me. I've been smoking since World War II. Oh, really? How old are you, dirt? I don't, how is there an age for that? But that seems a really long time to smoke. He goes, son, I've been smoking longer than you've been alive. I said, well, sit your ass down. It's time for you to stop.
Perhaps I should have used different wording. I guess how can you, how do I say this? If you don't have results, it's like a catch-22. You have to, have experience to have results, but you have to have results to get, to get people to be interested. So how do you recommend getting results?
So that's a good question. Are you in the counseling therapy coaching business? Like, what's your specialty?
Yeah.
Okay.
That.
Who have you had any clients? Have any breakthroughs yet?
Not paid clients, no.
Okay, so that's okay. It doesn't have to be paid clients. Have you helped people, have some kind of breakthrough at all?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where your testimonials come from. Again, your presupposition is you have to have testimonials for people to buy. That's not true. You're going to sell more with more testimonials, right? Absolutely. Right. My sales pages, if I my friend Marlon Sanders has a page and he has literally 700 testimonials on his page. He's like, you can't. I said, Marlon, there is a point when you've got too many testimonials on your page. He says 700, but even if you have 2, that's fine. I think, again, the presupposition is like, you need to make sure that whatever service you're providing is going to over deliver for them. So if I'm charging $3,000, I'm gonna give them $4,000 of value. That's what I hear is you're not sure that what you're doing is going to have a profound effect. And maybe I'm misinterpreting that as well. But the truth is, if someone has a pain point and you are a friendly ear, they will say yes, because they want to have someone to pull the thorn out. So as an example, we put handwriting experts into business, right? There is no way they're ever going to be as famous as I am in that little niche. Their website's not going to have them on Larry King, but you know what? I'm convincing them that they can pick up the phone and they can help people. Credit card and give. That's the pain point. What do I do about it? Oh, I can hire an attorney. You know what? I'm going to type in Google what to do with my mom's house. They call. They get me. They get one of our graduates. They get one of the people that my competitors. If that person's nice and they have pain and they go, hey, I can help you solve the problem, they will whip out their credit card. They don't bother looking at my resume. They don't ask where I went to school. All they care about is here's this person on the phone that gets me, and I'm in pain and I want out of it. So I will give you money. Sometimes they don't know they're talking to me. Sometimes they think I'm the assistant, whatever. I said, pick up the phone and why not? It's $1,000, right? Oh, I'm not that rich to delegate all that stuff. So my point is, Wendy, once these people graduate from school, they don't have no perceived fame. They don't have any credibility, but I've convinced them, because I get to work with them 2 or 3 years, that they're great and that they're going to transform lives. And they have the ability to execute on this promise of, you give me $1,200, I'm going to give you this solution to this problem. Let's call it a forgery, whatever. So what I'm asking you is, what problem are you solving? What pain are you relieving from people? And if you're not relieving pain, which is the thorn analogy, right? Removing the thorn, you are going to provide pleasure. I'm going to provide experience. I'm going to provide you more money. I'm going to provide you a path for something. I'm going to take you on a journey. Are you providing adventure? So either you're selling something toward or selling away. So basic NLP, moving toward pleasure, away from pain. You need to decide who you're serving. I know in the forensic world, we're solving a problem, or they wouldn't be spending $1,000 after a 5-minute conversation. Now, in the handwriting analysis or Prism life design world, we're not solving a problem. We're saying, if you come down this journey with us, your life will be better at the end. If you get certified, your life will be better. You can make more money. You can help people. You'll be a better counselor. Like, we're selling them a journey so that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's, $2,000 or $3,000. But we can literally, somebody calls and said, hey, my mom just died. There's $1 million estate. My brother's trying to steal it. You think that person blinks at spending $3,000 on a forensic expert? Not even blink. But you know how hard it is to get someone to spend $3,000 on a journey to learn handwriting analysis? It's hard. It's hard. So the shortest fruit is to solve somebody's pain. So if they're in a divorce, if they're in existential crisis, if they're unhappy in their marriage, right? If your solution, which is NLP, which is hypnosis, which is Christianity, whatever ointment you're selling, solve their problem. And if the pain's big enough, the price can be big enough. I have another problem we solved, the forensic school, which is $68,000. By the way, some of that's advertising. I mean, everyone that goes through that will probably make between $80,000 to $100,000 a year until they retire, which is like 80 years old, right? Because the older you get in this business, the more people want to hire you until you get like 90. So I'm literally saying, here's the problem. You're unhappy in your job. This is a really interesting career. And if you give me 3 to 4 years, you can learn it. And even when you're 55, 60, 65, you will still be making $100,000 a year. That is the promise I'm making them. So I'm selling them, I'm taking them out of this mediocre job. And again, these people are not unsuccessful. They're not flipping burgers at Whataburger, right? They're accountants, they're financial planners. Like, they're just bored with their job. They're 40 to 45 to 50. They're like, you know what? I don't want to do taxes in another 20 years. I got a police officer. He's like, you know what? I got 3 years away from retirement. What am I going to do? Well, you don't want to be a cop anymore. He's pushing 50, his back hurts, but he wants to stay in the law enforcement field. And who doesn't want to earn $100,000? So if you look at it that way, hey, you know what? You're 50, you can work till you're 75. That's 25 years of work. I'm going to help you make about 80 to 100,000 a year. That's about a $2 million return on investment. Why wouldn't they spend $68,000? You see, I just reframed that. It's all about perceived value and take them down a journey. So if the journey is attractive enough, hey, I can quit my job, I can have another career, you can make the price really high. If the journey's not very attractive, hey, you know what? You're going to have this great skill to analyze handwriting. That's worth $3,000 or $4,000. It's not worth $70,000, especially when you can get it for free on YouTube. It's really hard. So whatever you're selling, make sure that you can't get it free on YouTube and that your personal touch makes it really special. So you can read my books, but if you want to personally work with me like Lori and Doc have been doing for years, you're going to pay a little more. But you can read the books. You can watch the videos for free. But if you want access to me, you can pay a little more. So Wendy, if someone had access to you and you held them by the hand, what journey could you bring them on?
Okay.
No, I'm really
Thank
asking
you.
Do you have any? I'm really asking you. Does something? I know it's a hard question, but does it pop up? Like, what journey would you take them on if you had them a year?
self-realization, actualization, you know, teaching them how to be the best them they could be, you know, using different activities, techniques, showing them, you know, helping them get rid of their limiting beliefs, having breakthroughs, figuring out their life purpose, where they want to go,
Yep.
what they want to be.
So literally you and I had the same thought. I called it life design by Prism, like purpose, relationships. I labeled it. I gave it a package. Here's an ointment. I'm going to label it. By the way, the word prism I thought was really great. And someone said, Bart, you realize that sounds a lot like prison, and no one wants to go to prison. Like, that's a terrible brand. And I was already too into it to change it. So I'm like, okay, I'm stuck with Prism for a while. But if it roll it up like Prism, you're going to go to prison. You teach classes in prison? That's amazing. So not the best brand idea. But the point was, Wendy, what I did is said, I really would like to teach people my methodology because I've had some success and I'm pretty joyous and I'm pretty happy most of the time. Lorianne, Doc, you've known me for years. I'm generally really happy. And I have a formula for that. The way I track things, the way I monetize, like there's a formula, which I teach in that program, which if you give me a year, you can also have statistical improvements in health, fitness, like this is my brainchild, right? And I'm not telling you because I want to enroll you. It's not even for sale. I'm saying that you have the same thing. In your brain is a bunch of systems that if you had a tribe follow you, you would teach them this on Monday, and the next Monday you teach them this. You already have it in your brain. So you need to figure that out, write it all down, stamp it with the Wendy label, whatever that is, and call that Wendy's program. Wendy's 1 year to enlightenment, right? That's the program. You don't know that because you weren't sure that people would pay you for that, but they will because they need to be led and they're in pain and they don't know. They just don't know if it's going to work for them. That's a sales conversation. But once you build this, the easy way to build that, Wendy, is don't go spend $12,000 in 12 months making CDs and DVDs and videos and stuff. Go get 3 or 4 clients. Say, I'm doing this weekly Zoom call, and I'm gonna figure out what they go. Wow, that's amazing. Like one of the basis of our life design program is the NLP value elicitation. Now, anyone who studied NLP, basic. I mean, you see it in all the books. Tony Robbins does it. But it works, and it's one of the most important things for shifting people's abundance mentality and belief systems is where the values. Now, those of you that don't know NLP, but my point is, of all the things I've done, seminars, webinars, people come back and said, Bart, that changed my life. That whatever you did, like, whoa, man, it changed my life. Because of that, Wendy, that's now phase 1 of this program. I said, if I could have somebody and spend a year with them, what would I tell them? I would teach them how to control their internal voices. I would teach them state management. And I went from what's worked in my life, not just what Tony Robbins does or some other NLP instructor, right? Although they're terrific at what they do. And so, okay, well, if I'm going to have somebody for a year, here's the skill set I'd like to have them have. And I think at the end of that year, their life will be more joyous than before. So you can all do that, whether it's through Christianity or whether it's through your other ointment or chiropractic. You can all take them on a journey. At some point, that'll have a name, you know, Lori's year-long journey to enlightenment, and that'll have a price tag. And that might be monthly, like Doc and Lori and I have, they've been coming to a marketing mastermind. So once a month, this is a great business model. So here's, I own a lot of businesses. I'm really good at marketing, right? Once a month, I spend 2 hours on a Zoom call. And a lot of my most valued customers pay me $80 a month to have time with me. Okay. I could probably charge $3. So Frank Kern charges $500 a month for his monthly marketing call. Frank Kern's a marketing genius, right? I was like, you know what? I really only want to have 12, 15 people. I want to help our graduates. I want to help our Prism graduates. I want to help our handwriting graduates. So think about that. It's 2 hours of my life once a month. It's really no big deal. I'd probably do it for free, but I've got 28 people that are paying $80 a month. They pay $1,000 up front, right? So what's that? 28. So it's about $2,500 a month. I speak for 2 hours, so I'm getting paid $1,300 an hour. and I'm really connecting with people I care about, and I'm really changing their lives because they don't understand funnels and marketing and ads and all this stuff, and I'm inspiring them, right? But I bundled that as part of the brand. So once you graduate, if you want to help me keep you building your business, spend time with me. But it's not super expensive. But look at the hourly rate. I'm making $2,500 as extra for 2 hours of my life once a month. So you don't have to make a year-long program where you babysit them. You can just do it once a month. You can do it every week. Does that make sense? And the thing is, you just want to make it where the time commitment doesn't turn them off. Because most people don't have 10 hours a week that they can jump into bed with you on. It's a big time commitment. But if it's only once a month, that'd be great. If it's an enlightenment journey, then maybe it's a weekend every 3 months. So you could package it in webinar, subscription model, weekend retreats. There's a lot of business of selling wisdom and enlightenment. Am I missing, Robert? Is anyone in talk to everybody? It sounds like we're all selling a little bit of happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say for the most part, I mean, the idea behind everything that we're doing is everything you heard, you nailed everything and we didn't have to rehearse it. The fact that you're identifying a pain point in your target market and then being able to solve that problem. And most of that is all through informational products and services.
We do have somebody here though that is not there. Ellen, actually, she's doing a sort of not-for-profit online for COVID kids talk. And I think, Ellen, you had a quick question for that because she's dealing a lot with children and the handwriting. She was really interested in how you came along with that. So, and Doc's here.
Hi, Ellen. What's up?
Hi. Well, I just wanted to say hi and thanks for this opportunity to listen to you speak. I was wondering your thoughts on handwriting analysis with social work in schools with children.
So my thoughts is it useful, or my thoughts on why aren't they using it more, like or content related? Expand your question just a bit.
Just thinking, like, would that be a marketable thing? So, like, could I go into the schools, you know, with this handwriting analysis as part of, part of my package?
So the answer is yes, but just be very specific. Schools don't normally have a big budget for speakers. Colleges do. James Malinchak, a friend of mine, runs a big speaker boot camp, and he's got a college boot camp. By the way, his stuff is, he's going to sell the crap out of you if you go to the seminar. I won't lie, but a lot of his stuff is really good, and some of it's free. So if you want to go down the speaking road, he's a terrific guy to check out. Again, they all have things, they all have high price. I'm not saying go buy some any money with him, but I mention that because if you're going to be a speaker, that's part of your package.
I don't want to be a speaker.
Okay, great.
I don't like speaking at all. I just want to help people.
So if you don't like speaking, then I don't know where the product and the opportunity for working with schools are. I don't see it.
Like working with the individual children as a social worker, using the handwriting analysis.
Yeah, so having the skill set will profoundly make you a better counselor. We have a number of graduates in Singapore that only work with kids, and they do workshops after school. They help them make prettier handwriting, but also they kind of talk to the counselors and the parents, and their mission is to raise their self-esteem. So they understand the kids' thinking patterns because they can do the handwriting. So as far as a skill, Ellen, it's a great skill because it'll make you better at your job.
Okay.
Now, is there a business behind that? No, you're getting paid from the state to be a social worker. So you're just improving your skill set. And that's brilliant. You should do that. That's a really good skill set to learn. Lori can teach you, and so can Doc. Like they're especially. Doc taught school for 30 years in Chicago. Doc, you think it was useful to be a handwriting analyst while you're working with those children in Chicago?
Extremely so. I thought I was going to interrupt anyway and say that it's the easiest way to help teachers help children, or to help the children themselves, because there's so much you could do with them to improve. It's just a great skill to have in your back pocket, because you know how to approach the child before you even meet him. You know how to come out up strong on front, or maybe from the side, or you know that it's going to give you a line of garbage and not tell you the truth. you're going to know ahead of time. So it helped me in just everyday classroom teaching too, because I knew the kids that were raising their hands to drive me nuts and the ones that were raising their hands because they really wanted to learn. So it's a great tool to have. Plus it helped me deal with all the other teachers and to deal with the parents. So sometimes can be the most difficult thing in teaching is the parents. So it just helped me in so many areas.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Doc. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour here. We're over by about 17 minutes, so I don't want to hold everybody. I am so excited that everybody's been here and been able to answer questions. Anybody before we go? I know Sumit.
So John has a question about podcasting, and I'll answer it. I also just put in the chat room our mastermind. It's basically a blog, and this may be upload the replay within like Easy Video Suite or something like Amazon, right? But not on YouTube because it's not for the public. It's for members only, right? Most of that is unlocked. So we just finished up like a month of how to do use Zoom seminars. It's unlocked. So that's a gift to you guys if you want to learn how to sort of market yourself on Zoom. I put the link there. That's also where you would go if you wanted to be part of our mastermind. But there's a specific video in there, and whoever, John, if it's not unlocked, go ahead. If you scroll down, there's a whole 2-hour class on podcasting and lighting and stuff that we taught, which is great. So the short answer to your question is, podcasting is like a TV show. Can you make money in television? Sure. If you're the producer, a friend of mine wrote 2.5 Men. His baby had $13 million when it came out of the, I mean, that's a good trust fund, right? You know, and he's said that he's not the richest producer he knows. So if you make content, you make money by selling commercials. A podcast is a TV show, right? Or radio show. It's a syndicated radio show. It's no different than that. Just like Westwood One, Rush Limbaugh, Howard Stern, they're syndicated radio shows. The way you make money from a podcast is you sell advertising in that media. Because that's how most people are doing it. The other way is direct response. If you can't sell ads, which you can't until you get really successful because you don't have an audience, you have to sell a product. So for me, because I've got 2 businesses in the handwriting space, we've crafted up a podcast which is not launched yet, and it's relating to true crime, and occasionally we bring a handwriting story, right? The upsell would be, hey, we're also handwriting experts. So we're our own advertising vehicle, but we have some way to monetize our audience, but it's not a direct one-on-one correlation. So the truth is most podcasts aren't successful because no one's going to pay for advertising when you don't have any listeners. But here's the benefit of podcasting. You can get access to people you could never, ever get access to. So people like me would come on the podcast with Lori, and so call this a podcast, call it a show, whatever you want to call it. And we're friends now. And so by having a podcast or having a book, you now put yourself in this status column of an elite group of people. So what used to be a really big deal, which is having a book, right? Now everyone's got a book because you can self-publish. Now the big brass ring is a TED Talk, right? You know, but my point is, you all should have a book because it's so easy to do. You just literally just go record yourself speak for a couple of hours and transcribe it, and you got a book. That positions you as an expert, which is terrific.
Actually, I think it's that credibility piece again. When we talk about the fact, you know, no one really gets rich off a book unless you're a well-known author. Same thing with podcasts. Same thing with speaking from stage. All of those things are tools to build credibility.
Yeah. Now there are always exceptions. You know, our Jamie Mason Cohen, one of our graduates, went through the handwriting university, not the forensics. He's now getting about $10,000 to $25,000 per keynote lecture and for a leadership seminar. But here's what he did. He spoke for free for 200 or 300 times. He got his message down. He figured out that no one cares about handwriting, but they care about leadership. But there's a lot of leadership speakers and none of them talk about handwriting. So he found a way to be unique, but he's totally niche. You know who his market is? Big companies that have a budget that need leadership skills. That's his market. So, you know, it took him years to hone down on the target avatar. Mm-hmm. But so Robert, you can make money from speeches if you if your target audience is if you're a paid speaker. But that was a long road. That took him 6 or 7 years to get to the point of doing it. And I'll tell you his big breakthrough, and that's because I'm a really good coach, as he was undercharging because he had this free thing. And I said, you've got to find a way to not just get the speaking fee, which is got to be above 5,000, or you can't get a speaker's bureau, right? So if you don't have a speakers bureau, now you're booking yourself. So it's kind of like having an agent as an NFL star, or it's like an agent basically. It's a speakers bureau. But if you're only charging 5,000, they're not making much money. So the faster he can get up to 10,000, now he's a paid speaker. But I said, Jamie, what's going to happen is you're going to get burned out. Like, you don't really want to speak on the road 100 times a year. Like that's a hard life when you got young kids at home. I said, you got to find a way to take the same service and get $30,000 from these companies. And it was such a block for him because he came from a world as a teacher. He didn't realize that someone will write you a check for $30,000 and you spend the weekend doing corporate games, training. Like, he didn't know that this existed. So it took him 4, 5, or 6 years of drinking the Bart Baggett Kool-Aid before he was convinced that he had the capacity to get $30,000 a weekend, right? And by the way, that's just the number he's charging now. I can't take credit for it. He eventually figured out what that was, because he wasn't sure that he could do it, and he wasn't charging enough money. And if you don't charge enough money, you can't afford to advertise, travel, be with your family, etc. So the biggest mistake that you guys probably have been making is charging too little. Because if you charge too little, you're broke, you're frustrated, you get crappy clients, because people that pay you more are better clients. People that spend $4 or $5, they're the first ones to call and bitch at customer service because their package is late. The people that pay $68,000 will gladly wait until I call them back, and they'll be grateful that they got my money, that they got 5 minutes of my time. By the way, I love them. I love these people. So charge more. You get better clients, you get more affluent people, and you got profit so you can go market. You know what I mean? Like, it's really tough to start a business without an advertising budget. And if you're pricing yourself too low, then you're going to not be able to afford advertising. So while books and seminars and podcasts, these are all great ideas, they're very low ticket items. What they're good for is building an email list, building a brand, building Facebook pages so that you have a fan base. And then get 4 people that love you, Jennifer, and charge them $50,000 a year. Now you have 4 people that you care about, and you spend 5, 10, 20 hours a week working with those people. And now you got $200,000. You know, now you can go buy an advertising agency. Not buying it. You can go buy an ad guy. You can go buy a Facebook expert. You can actually afford to serve these people at a higher level because they're paying you $50,000 each. You can get a hotel with a great pool. You can go to a weekend retreat. You can bring in Lorianne. You could bring in a yoga instructor. You could give them a premium service. You could bring in massages. You know what I mean? But you can't if you're charging them $2,000. You can't over deliver if you don't have any profit. And so the biggest advice I can give you is charge a premium. Find something that is like so out of your comfort zone, it would make you cry to ask for it. So Ellen, if your comfort zone is $10,000, like I can never perceive 10,000, someone paying me $10,000, your number is 20. Like, make it really hard for you, like stretch, and then start thinking, what can I do that would be worth $20,000 to people, right? Like, if you asked me 20 years ago, I could sell a $68,000 school. I'd say, no, I'm just going to sell books. Like, I'm going to sell $49 hypnosis sessions because that's all I knew. You know, my friend Mike Warren, he sells coaching packages for $125,000 to help buy and flip businesses.
Yeah.
Wow. One of our real estate guys, Laura, I think you were in class with our real estate guy. He was coaching me on my belief system. He's like, he charges $60,000 for him to help you invest in real estate. And I think his highest program is like $150,000. But here's the deal. It's worth it if you can pick up the phone and coach you through buying or selling your first house. He said, here's the numbers. I'm talking about high tickets. So he's whether it's real estate, business, personal. He said, 50% of the people stick with me for a year. And I can only help them if they show up, right? If they don't show up on the calls, I can't help them. Of the people that show up, 100% of my students have bought and sold houses and made their money back from my program. So is $125,000 a lot? Apparently not, because 100% got their money back and own property now. So he's delivering way more than $125,000 value, but only if you show up, right? Half of them don't finish. But so if your mindset is that's a lot of money, no, not if you're giving them a return on investment. So those of us selling soft skills like transformation, it's a little harder to find a $100,000 package because you're selling something soft. But one of the new girls on our mastermind program was selling a $100,000 coaching program for couples, love-based program. That's literally almost $7,500, $8,000 a month is being dinged on their credit card to get to up to $100,000. Now, what do you have to deliver to create that much value to somebody? I don't know, but you guys can sure do it. You sure you can do something for $20,000, $25,000? So I'm saying is just start thinking in the mindset of like, what can I deliver that would be worth $20,000 or $30,000? What if I had somebody for 6 months? I check in with them every week. What would that look like? And how could you transform their life? If you did that and you could find that sweet spot, you get 5-6 clients a year, you're home free. You get to serve people, you make a difference. But trying to serve everybody and trying to serve at a low price is a difficult formula because you can't afford to serve them well, customer service, etc. And you can't afford to advertise. So be profitable. And the easiest way to be profitable is charge a really high price and then serve them. Just serve, and just over deliver. They'll bring you more customers or make them $60,000, $70,000 a year for the next 10 years. Like I expect they'll make $700,000 in that investment. That's my commitment. And I've done it before. So I know I can. I've done it before. We've had graduates that made $350,000 a year. So what's a $68,000 investment if they're making $350,000 a year? So I know I can deliver it, but I'd rather work with 4 to 8 people that I can serve really well than 500 people that I don't have time for. So Lori, I know I went 30 minutes over. I hope that's all right.
Hey, I'm just gonna say that there was so much value in this that it didn't feel like 30 minutes over. So we could probably have you speak for another hour, and most of us would be okay with that. But thank you very much, Bart.
You're welcome. And for those of you watching the replay, didn't get it, go to the websites in the chat with bartbaggett.com.
Yep.
But this is kind of a secret website. You won't see it off the main page. bartbaggett.com/marketingmastermind. There's a lot of videos there that are unlocked. There's a lot of wisdom from not only me. Last week we had Dan. I got to tell you, if you watch anything, the one we did recently with Dan Russell, who markets hypnotists, like he broke down like this is the acquisition of a lead. So go watch some of those videos. If I can serve you in any way or help you, reach out to me. I'd be love to. Thanks for letting me talk with you guys. I love it. You got people all over the world, and it's been really fun interacting with you guys.
Bart, we appreciate it. Is this the best way that they can reach out to you then? Is just through this website, or is there another method as well?
Yeah, bartbaggett.com. I mean, I would love of some Instagram follows. I've been woefully delinquent in jumping on the influencer bandwagon. Actually, it's interesting. DMs, which is direct messaging on Instagram and Facebook, some of the best ways you can get access to famous people. Like really is like it'll come up, like it'll be on my phone. I'll be sitting there, and there you are. Oh, there's Ellen. Hi, yeah, I saw you. Like literally, it will get to me through DM in Facebook and Instagram as well. So yeah, if you want to reach out to people that you don't know, that's a great way to do. Follow them and then jump on their DM.
Absolutely.
Is your Instagram handle just your name?
Yeah, Bart Baggett, BartBaggett. And I'm the guy with the motorcycle and swimming with sharks. That's me. If you span through, and occasionally red carpet, motorcycles, sharks. Yeah.
Thank you again, Bart. I appreciate it. Lorianne, thank you for having Bart on. And this has been, hopefully all of you can agree. I don't want to just speak for you, but this was very informational. If you guys didn't grab at least 1, 2, 3, or 10 nuggets from this, then I can't help you. No, just kidding.
We have to give them their money back, right?
But thank you so much, Bart. We appreciate this. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, and please,
thank you so much.
Before you
Good
go,
night, everybody. Bye now.
Seriously, you guys have to get his magic question. The magic question. It's an amazing book. Like I said, very small. Highly recommended. Get on there
Yeah.
and give him some good reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be reaching out to you, Bart. There's a couple things we didn't even get to talk about, but I'm actually leading out in a couple TEDx's over the next 2 years, and I want to pick your brain on a few things. So
love
thank you
to
very
help.
much. Appreciate it.
All of you. Reach out. Have a safe night, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye now.
Bart.
Thank you, everyone. I
Thank you
thank you
very
very much
much.
for being here. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.